Hello and welcome. My name is Kitty Gray, and today we're going to talk about compassion. Compassion. The definition of compassion is sympathetic consciousness. Sympathetic consciousness. What does that mean? Sympathetic, let's break it down. Sympathetic means to sympathize, to have a shared experience with another, to share, to have a mutual experience. For some of us, we relate sympathy to pity or to feeling mournful and sad. But sympathetic also means to share the experience. Consciousness means to be aware, to be alive and awake and aware of something, okay? So if I'm experiencing sympathetic consciousness, I am having an experience, I'm aware of what another is going through, and I'm feeling that, I'm sharing that, okay? Sympathetic consciousness, compassion, is medicine. It's pure power. Compassion, honestly, I believe compassion could help heal the entire world. With more compassion, if we were sympathetically conscious of the experience another was going through and we allowed ourselves to feel that, we would not have war. We would not be, as humans, having such a negative impact on the natural world, destroying forests, dumping plastic into the oceans, wiping out, decimating species of animals, because we would feel what it was like. We would share that experience with them. We would feel the pain of what we were creating, of what we were causing. Right? So compassion makes sense. Compassion makes sense. It could help heal the world. And yet, many of us have disconnected from our relationship with the feeling and the experience of compassion. We've learned how to not feel compassion. Why is that? If there's something we could be doing as humans to help the world and the planet, if there's something beautiful, that's a beautiful experience, that's empowering and healthy and natural, and it's directly connected to the core nature of who we are, and yet we're not doing that, and by us not experiencing compassion, we are at times a very destructive species. Why? Why would we not want to feel compassion? Why? The reality is, compassion, in that shared sympathetic experience of feeling, it means that sometimes when we feel consciously aware and we share an experience with another, if what they are going through is painful, if they're suffering and hurting, we don't want to feel compassion. We avoid feeling compassion because we don't want to feel pain. We don't want to feel uncomfortable. So we learn how to not feel, how to desensitize, how to separate from our sensitive nature and move into the realms of unconsciousness, right? So if compassion is sympathetic consciousness, we're learning how to avoid into unconsciousness and to not feel. And we may think in the moment, if that's something you can relate to, if you say, yeah, I tend to sometimes scroll quickly when I see what's happening in the media, what's happening through the effects of war, what's happening to animals, what's happening to the environment, whatever it is. If you've learned to distract, to separate, to avoid your sensitivity, staying present in the presence of pain, you're doing that out of self-preservation. You're doing that to avoid pain, and you have every reason to do that. You have every reason to want to not feel pain. Pain is uncomfortable. You want to remain comfortable. But unfortunately, when we separate with avoidance and distraction, and we separate ourselves from feeling the truth of what the world around us or another individual or an animal or a tree is going through, when we separate from that deeply rooted essence of our being, of sensitivity, we're doing that out of fear. And fear is like this. Fear is a constricting feeling. Fear is, I'm scared, I'm holding on, I'm tightening up. Love is this expansive feeling of our hearts. And if we have been through trauma, which all of us have, if we've experienced painful events in our lives, and we didn't know how to process the pain, the aftermath of that pain, the discomfort, we learned how to not be present, how to not be conscious, how to not be sensitive, how to not feel vulnerable, to not feel exposed and absorbent. For many of us, we are apprehensive to be compassionate and to really attune ourselves to those around us, the life around us, the life across the planet, because we learned how to protect, how to go inward, how to distract, how to separate from our sensitivity. And we did that again out of fear. So we close up, we close our eyes, we plug our ears, we hide deep inside. We build these walls around our hearts and our feelings, and we learn how to not feel. And compassion requires us to feel, sympathetic feeling. And it requires us to be present, to be conscious, sympathetic consciousness. So it requires us to be empowered. And if we're resistant, if we're afraid, if we're going into that response of, nope, too much for me, I can't look at what's happening to that person on the street, I can't look at what's happening to the animals, I can't look at what's happening to the oceans, the whales, the bees, it's too much, I don't want to look. I'm afraid. What are you afraid of? I'm afraid of feeling pain. I'm afraid of being uncomfortable. Because I've been uncomfortable, I've been in pain in my life, and I just didn't know how to process it. I didn't know how to handle it. So I turn it off. And that's no way to live. That's being disempowered. If you're running away from your sensitive nature, if you're avoiding opening and feeling, if you're distracting and hiding, you're not empowered and you're not fully present. When you're fully present and unafraid, and your heart is open, and you're able to interact with the world from a place of openness and sensitivity and fearlessness, that is power. That's power, that's confidence. That's reclaiming your relationship with trust itself. If I close up in fear, I don't want to feel, I don't want to look at what's happening, I don't want to feel compassionate because I'm afraid and I'm disempowered. I'm doing that because I don't trust. I don't trust the world. I don't trust that I can handle it. I don't trust the feelings that come up. I don't trust myself in being with those feelings. A lot of distrust and desensitization. So in order for you to fully step into your power and presence and greater healing, when I say power, I mean power in you, the power of love, the power of consciousness. When you allow yourself to be fully present and to feel what another is going through, to feel the world, to open up into that sensitive nature, which is your nature. You may think, I'm just not a sensitive person. You were at one point. You were very sensitive when you were very young. You may have learned at a very young age how to not feel. But that's just forgetting. You have to reclaim with a fierce precision focus. I'm going to reclaim my relationship with presence and with sensitivity because I want to be empowered. And what does that mean when you're empowered? When you're in your heart and you're compassionate and you're not living in fear, but you're opening, It means you're going to be a part of the healing. It means you're strengthening your emotional intelligence. You're strengthening your presence. And your presence is needed. Your presence is required. It's necessary in helping bring solutions to the suffering that's happening in the world. When you're scrolling, when you see the pain of what's happening, of war and famine and destruction and deforestation and whatever it is, when you witness that and you strengthen your ability to remain present, to feel, it may be uncomfortable, but what you're doing is you're strengthening your ability to remain present within yourself when it's uncomfortable. You're building trust in yourself. Self-trust, the definition is self-confidence. If I feel confident in something, I trust it. If I don't feel confident, I don't feel safe. I'm insecure. But if I am strong enough to remain present, to remain sensitive, to look at the world head on, to witness and to feel with this beautiful, powerful, feeling, sensitive nature of my body, my physical embodiment, and my mind is able to stay centered and present, power, confidence. I'm able to live life. And the reality is, trauma will happen. Trauma is happening. It's happening all the time, and it's always been happening. It's part of the living life experience, is pain. You know, we can't avoid it. We can't hide inside of ourselves and desensitize and run away from the reality that sometimes life will be painful. At some point, the loved ones in our lives will pass away. The animals, the pets who we deeply love, they will transcend. Life is filled with change. It's filled with transformation. And suffering will happen. However, the real work is building a relationship with yourself, with your emotional body, building that trust in yourself that you are strong enough to be present in this life and to feel the experience of life. And when it is painful, not if, but when it's painful, you are strong enough to remain present, to show up and lean in and feel your heart, to be there for yourself, to feel the grief, to feel the pain, and then let love fill your being. If you see suffering in the world, if you feel it in yourself, if you witness pain, if you're grieving, it's because you're sensitive, and that's a superpower. That's nothing to fear. That's something to celebrate. You're alive, and you're feeling. And it may be uncomfortable, but stay present and keep breathing. And open yourself even more, even though you want to close up and hide and constrict and burrow away inside of yourself. Breathe and open more and let love in. Let the essence, the beautiful infinite presence of the divine into your heart. And if you witness that suffering and you wish it wasn't so, you wish there was healing, hold it in your image. Rather than turning away from it and avoiding, look more deeply at it and visualize a change. Visualize love, beaming, and healing. And let it fill your entire being. Let your entire body and being become a container, a vessel of love. And trust its power. Love is stronger. It's more powerful than fear. Trust that. Love heals. Stay present. Stay sensitive. And trust in the power of love. And then be a part of the change. You know, for a lot of us, when we have that response of wanting to avoid instead of remain present and feel, we separate from our minds, we separate from our bodies, from ourselves, and we separate from our intelligence. And the key here is to strengthen your emotional intelligence. Strengthen your intelligence. Because with your intelligence, you're going to be a part of the healing. You're going to have insights and realizations and guidance. As you strengthen that sensitive nature within you, your compassionate heart, you're also going to strengthen your intuition, your creative imagination. You're going to think, I can do something. I'm strong enough to stay present in the presence of pain. And I'm committed and devoted to doing something to help, to taking action. Because I trust myself, I believe in myself, I know that I am powerful, and I am done hiding. I am done feeling disempowered and separating from my sensitivity. I'm done hiding away in unconsciousness. I am ready to be a part of the greater healing and do something to help. That's power. That's the power of you allowing yourself to feel compassion, allowing yourself to be sympathetically conscious of what's happening in the world. And we need you. You are powerful, and we as a species, as a planet, we need you to be in your power and to be a part of the healing. Okay? Thank you.